questions with you?
No, believe me, I saw
Oh,
your question. And once I
uh,
saw them, I thought I could take
that,
about 2 days spending just
that's
writing
too
answers.
many.
And
Too
yeah.
many. I know.
And I
Yeah.
thought, no, I'm not going to spend 2 days. I'll just get on and talk to you and give the best spontaneous answers I can.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Well, that's the philosophy of living in the moment, because when you are, you give the most sincere and lifelike answers and reactions, that come from the moment. Um, the the stories you were touching on in your storytelling, that captivates me, and Alona knows about uh, a little bit about life in Himalayas, because we had Himalayan friends in Durango, Colorado, who were Himalayan restaurant owners who actually have a charity that supports several schools in Himalayas. They actually built those schools and they provide
Where,
lunches
where,
for
where in the
kids.
Himalayas?
Um, I
Is
should,
it in Nepal? Or
ne yes,
Nepal, Nepal.
yes,
It
It's in
was
Nepal.
Nepal.
Okay. Yeah,
it's
Yes,
that's
just
okay.
so
yes.
much good family in, and it's us really good friends. He have do a lot good stuff in America, and a lot good stuff in the Nepal, because two guys and a girl from Nepal. She built huge restaurant, huge
A
business.
couple, yeah.
Yeah,
A
couple, but
couple,
it's
yes.
children for Lama. Two children for Lama,
They're
and
both children of lamas, he and her. And she, Jamu is her name, and his name is, I'm trying to remember
Karma,
now.
Karma, Karma,
Karma
Karma.
and Jamu. Yes,
Karma.
and she's the first in her generation to receive an education and become a teacher. But she doesn't work as a teacher here, but in Nepal, that was a big deal because before then, education was
Lost.
outlawed. You couldn't get an education. It was against the law
You mean if you were a girl?
No, if you doesn't
for
matter.
anyone. For
He
For
have
anyone doesn't.
anyone?
the yes,
Wow.
Queen closed, and 100 years
The
children no possible go
the
to the school
the
because
king, I think the king of Nepal, yes.
Wow. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yes, yes. And it was really interesting, and it's interesting looking for different country. What is that? Because for me, us country in Ukraine, we have free education. My grandmom was education, my mom education, me, and for us, we doesn't pay for law. My law school is for free, and medicine for free in us constitution. Ukraine, I love my country. Ukraine was a really interesting country, different than all in the world. I really a lot travel. Yeah. Okay. Questions for you. Sorry.
No,
Okay.
I think it's going all naturally. So I don't even want to look at those questions, but there's a certain theme that kind of goes through through your work, and one of the themes is masculinity, the meaning of
Yes.
masculinity
But
in your work.
but we just sort of touched on one a few minutes ago that I could expand on if you want me to about
Please.
what you were saying, Lena, about that's my goal. I want to change human consciousness. I want to change the way people think about things. But I know enough to know that if you want to change their mind, you have to change their heart. You have to start with their heart. And so for me, it's a proposition about telling stories that I know will move people emotionally, will open up their capacity to have empathy, to feel, maybe for the first time, what some people who are very, very different from them might be experiencing in their lives. And then I know that if I can do that, then I might get them to start thinking about different ways that we need to uh, accommodate other people, other points of view, other ways of thinking. And that this then, in its own way, hopefully builds bridges across divides of people. And I don't need to remind the two of you, but we're facing so many great divides in human society right now. So anyway, I just wanted to first respond to that because you're absolutely right that that's a big focus of my work, changing human consciousness.
Thank you.
So, do you want me, Vladimir,
Yes.
to talk about masculinity or?
My question, one of the question I had is, what does healthy masculinity look like during conflict? Could you
Hmm,
could you touch on that?
that's a very good question. Uh, you don't ask easy questions, so I'll do my best to give answers that are uh, succinct. So, well, I wrote I wrote an essay that'll be in my next book, but I published it as a blog already about 2 years ago. And actually, interestingly enough, it was prompted by what's happening in Ukraine. The title of the essay is Reflections on the Warrior Archetype in the Age of Neo-Feudalism. So I've been a student of collapse, this broad subject of collapse, for some time. And I don't know how familiar you might be with that subject, but that's a whole nother rat hole that we could go down. But just very, very briefly, it's basically about the end of modern industrial civilization, uh, due to the many different factors that are kind of coalescing in this time that we all live in. Environmental factors being maybe foremost among them, but certainly not the only ones. But one feature of the collapse of modern industrial civilization will be what we're already experiencing, which is the age of neo-feudalism, which is to say, where dictators become ascendant in countries around the world. And I think the evidence is clear that this is what's happening right now, and that democracies are under severe stress, to maintain uh, civil and democratic society. So, uh, what prompted these thoughts were uh, how I was drawn to want to respond to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And for me, Putin is obviously a kind of a poster child in a way for neo-feudalism, but he's far from the only one. I mean, I would argue Trump is right there along with him. And then many, many others, around the world. So I felt myself inexplicably drawn to the Ukrainian cause. And I had no rational understanding or explanation of this, um, other than I just respond automatically when I see injustice. And I wanted, in a sense, to do my own small part. And I thought, well, what can that be? I can't go there and join the army. I don't speak Ukrainian. I mean, I would be of no practical use. So it started me on a path of reflecting on the warrior archetype in this age of neo-feudalism. And uh, I assume that you're both familiar with sort of archetypal thinking. It comes mostly, from Carl Jung, uh, the student of Sigmund Freud,
Yes.
and his own extrapolations on these after studying indigenous people from around the world for many, many years. And so archetypal thinking has really influenced my own thinking very, very much, certainly in the last 30 years since I was introduced to the so-called men's movement. And I did my New Warrior training adventure through a group called the Mankind Project. And that's what introduced me to the idea of mature masculinity. And so mature masculinity basically requires that we have, a well-rounded understanding and embodiment of all of the major archetypes. And at their simplest, we could say there's four archetypes. And the warrior is certainly one. The sovereign or the king is certainly another. The magician is a third. And then the lover is a fourth. So, and of course, all people embody these. It's not just men, but I'm referencing the men's movement because this is where I learned of it, and this is where I've most practiced this way of thinking. So, anyway, the warrior archetype really calls us to understand that we may be forced at times to defend our families and our communities, our villages, our people in very dramatic ways, ways that we have to become prepared for and ready for. And I've argued in the past with people who are pacifists, and I myself would actually call myself a pacifist. I mean, I'm a practicing Buddhist, so for me, the sanctity of life is paramount. There's nothing more sacred than life, and human life is to be treasured and never to be taken for granted. Yet, at the same time, there are people who will and can cause us harm, great harm. And so we have to be prepared uh, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally to inhabit this warrior archetype, should that come to be a necessity for us in our lives. And so in this essay, I talk about not only my seemingly uh, irrational urge to come to Ukraine, and to help, but also to do for the first time for me is something very, very strange and counterintuitive, and that's to learn how to use a gun,
Oh, wow.
which is something I've never done, and I still haven't done, but I think that it might actually serve me. And because of my work with veterans, I actually know many people who are very skilled in the proper use of weapons. And I think that that could actually improve my roundedness when it comes to warrior discipline. But it doesn't have to be, again, in a sense, we have to be prepared to to do violence if people are doing violence to us, right? It's always defense. It's not offense that we're talking about here. But we can't be naive about it, again, because there are many people who want to do us harm in the world. And some people will not stop from trying to do us harm until we, sadly, have to take their lives. So anyway, this essay basically explores these different topics, and I find it very interesting that today I'm speaking to you from Ukraine. I never would have imagined finding myself when I wrote this essay. Again, it was at least 2 years ago, maybe longer, maybe three, maybe the very beginning of the war. It probably was. It probably was 4 years ago at the beginning. So, and the second thing that I've also discovered, which I find very interesting, which makes my intuitive feeling to come here and support Ukrainians, I found out my mother, her parents are Ukrainian. They're both from Ukraine.
Wow.
My mother's mother was from a village near Kiev, and my grandfather was from a town called Kamienka, which, as I understand it now, um, is on the Dnipro River, and it's about 2 hours drive from the city of Dnipro. And so, as part of my tour through the country of Ukraine, showing my films, we're going to go there, and I'm
Nice.
very excited about this. Uh, After my screening in Dnipro, we're going to drive to Kamienka and then spend the day there.
I
And I'm
think
going to,
I think you love Ukrainian. You love Ukrainian when you understand it because it's if your mother Ukrainian, you are Ukrainian. It's
well,
about
that's
this. I know that my husband daughter don't speak Russian, Ukrainian, but she goes Ukrainian. It's I know America changed for mine, but if you have the Ukrainian blood and smell this borscht real, what is that? And looking for this
I don't even
tree.
like beets.
Yes, yes. You don't like or you like?
I
And we,
don't like.
You don't. Okay, no problem.
But
Вареники, пироги
well, but
with
I'm
пироги
I'm
with potato. It's the best all the time.
well, anyway, it's I just find it very interesting. I mean, yes, Ukrainian is in my blood. There's no question about it. Have I understood this in the past at any conscious level? Absolutely not. Because my own mother, when it came to explaining where her parents were from, I don't think she ever used the word Ukraine. I think she always said,
SSR.
Eastern Russia,
Russia. Yeah.
and I think it was maybe partly because she didn't know herself. But anyway, also my father's side of the family is German, and that side of the family was much more present in
Of
my
course.
childhood, and because my father was a refugee from Nazi Germany in 1938. He came here as a 15-year-old boy. Well, actually, he spent the first year in Holland in a refugee camp, so he came as a 16, 17-year-old boy to the United States. But anyway, so we always grew up, I mean, I did at least, feeling more German, but it's a wonderful, delicious discovery to discover my Ukrainian side, and I'm delighted.
Um,
That
you
was
know,
the
I was
longest-winded answer you probably will ever get.
I was thinking about, see, there's a book that deeply affected me, and Alona knows this book as well. She read it as well. It's called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior
Yes,
by Dan Millman. And
yes,
I think the theme of healthy masculinity and about detaching from ego and outcome, disciplining your mind, all works with this healthy understanding of masculinity. And I think in your work you also touch on that.
absolutely. Well, and just as a footnote, I'll say that Bill Kauth, excuse me, the founder of the Mankind Project, where I discovered all these healthy masculinity issues and this work, asked Dan Millman if he would be okay with calling the work that he was developing uh, the peaceful warrior, the way of the peaceful warrior. And I guess Dan said no, but so uh, eventually, Bill and his two other founding partners, um, well, at first they called it the New Warrior. They called it the New Warrior Project. And then only about 10, no, actually it was 15 years later. So it started in 1985, and then around the year 2000, they shifted the name to the Mankind Project. But the name New Warrior was very pointed because they understood something that Dan Millman understood, that Robert Bly understood, that Michael Meade understood, and that James Hillman understood, that for the modern day men, to some degree, had been, I don't know what the right word is, almost denuded of uh, education about healthy warrior virtues, that what these things mean, that in a sense, the only societal sector that is teaching these values really is the military. And obviously the military serves its own ends. So it's you can learn a lot of very positive warrior virtues from military training, but it only to a degree.
Right.
And ultimately, of course, every man, just as every man and woman, but again, we're sort of focused on men here, has to know what his own personal mission is, his own personal mission in life. And he needs to follow that mission scrupulously. And whereas in the military, of course, the mission is one placed by the government, by the command of the military, etc. So it's not for a soldier to choose his own path. And in fact, I've also written on this. I've written, well, what is the difference between a soldier and a warrior? And it's in fact it's probably in the same essay. But a warrior thinks for himself. A warrior has to attune to his own conscience and let his conscience be his deepest guide. Okay, so not taking
Mm.
orders from someone.
I-
So anyway, am I off the topic here or?
no, it's great. Uh, on Speaking about your Ukrainian experience, you obviously came with a mission. So I guess the question for you now is, what is your mission in Ukraine? What are you attempting to do? And this internal urge that you have, it came from a moment of consciousness, of conscious, heartfelt desire to do something about what's happening in Ukraine. I don't know, maybe fight the war that they're fighting with something else, with words, with images, with film.
Yeah, well, the mission sort of materialized for me in a way. I can't take credit for inventing it. The way it happened was Ivan Shtapurin hosted Ed Tick, the author of two wonderful books about veterans. One is called The Soul of War, and the second one is called Warriors Return. And Warriors Return has been published in Ukraine by Ivan Shtapurin and his company Summit Publishing. And so I read in Ed Tick's newsletter that he was going to be doing some public appearances on Zoom in Ukraine through the auspices of Ivan and Summit. And I thought, oh, this is very interesting because I had finished my 5-film Veterans Journey Home series. So I contacted Ivan and I said, I have this series, and one of the films features Ed Tick, but all of the films, in a sense, feature the ideas of Ed. And so, would you be interested in having me show these films in Ukraine? And he said yes. And so, for the last 8 or 9 months now, we've been collaborating on making this trip possible. Uh, so, and it's kind of grown and it's morphed and it's changed in different ways. But yeah, so that's really where it started. So my part in this is very simple. I want to do my best to support the Ukrainian people in a very, very small way to understand their own soldiers and veterans better and to understand more how they can support them. Because my films all focus on how do veterans and soldiers transition from military service
Uh-oh. Something's going on. Uh, you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear us. Alona, can you hear me? Okay. I think he's back. All right, there you
Yeah,
go. You're
yeah,
back.
we have here.
I should have known that we were in trouble when I saw your eyes close, Vladimir, and then they didn't open. So what was the last thing you heard?
Last thing I heard,
About
that you were
Ukrainian mission.
that you were collaborating with Ivan Shchepurin and you came here um,
To
for him
offer my
to
theory.
show you. Yes, yes,
Володь,
Okay.
идет запись? Запись идет?
yes, yes. The recording is on. Yes, all good. I believe.
Yeah, so well, I already know it's working because we've had two screenings now.
Uh-huh.
I had one in Lviv on Wednesday, and then yesterday, excuse me, here in Kiev. And I'll just speak about what happened yesterday.
Okay.
Six Ukrainian soldiers came to the screening. There were about 40 people there. And at the end of it, um, well, two of the soldiers left after about 15 or 20 minutes after during the Q&A afterwards. But the other four stuck around. And eventually, it was interesting. There were three women and one man who
Oh wow.
remained. And the one man who remained, he came up to the microphone and he gave a speech of about 5 to 10 minutes. He served his country for 14 years. He talked about his tours and how challenging they were. And then he talked about at the end of his first tour how difficult it was for him to transition back into civilian life. That he would go to a place like the train station and there was way too many people and crowded and noisy. So clearly, this man has PTS.
Hmm.
And long story short, he basically told us some of his life story, how he became a student of psychology and now understands a lot of himself better. But this film that we showed yesterday, one of the five films in the series called Kalani's Story, he related to deeply. And he understood Kalani at a very deep level and felt like the solutions to Kalani's problems that he found would be helpful for himself, the Ukrainian soldier. And he was emotional. He was very open-hearted about it as he was sharing this stuff. Uh, and he was not the only one. Uh, but typically, I do have to say that um, it's harder to reach the men. It's easier to reach the women. And there were many women who were crying, who stood up and they said, this is, well, what happened in Lviv, a woman stood up and she said, you helped me understand my brother better. I now understand my brother who was a soldier because of your film. And she said, and now I have an understanding too of what I need to do for him to support him in his transition back to civilian life.
Hmm.
And so these are the kinds of reactions I've had in the United States before, but it's extremely exciting and fulfilling to see that they're also happening in Ukraine, that these issues are universal in effect, in effect, even though obviously the nature of warfare for American soldiers is very different, really, from Ukrainian. But there's universals that underline the stories of all veterans. So I'll just pause there because, again, I've probably gone far
Yes.
away from what you wanted to hear.
No. Everything's perfect. The way it goes that's the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Um, How did you like Lviv, by the way? I saw it for the first time last summer when we traveled to Ukraine, and it was absolutely gorgeous and fascinating,
It's beautiful. Yeah, what can I say? It's
like
just
a European
beautiful.
city.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was walking on Tuesday in the park with the high castle, on the hill.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we
yes.
were
And
there. Yes,
yeah,
Like
I I actually tried to walk all the way to the top of the
we
hill.
did too. We did too, and
And
got
did you meet
stopped.
yeah, you got stopped, right? There's a
Yeah.
soldier there going, no, no, no.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I did the
I
exact same.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was born in Lviv.
Okay.
I was born in
Lovely.
Sambornia for Lviv, and it's my mother and my grandfather brother was be in the team with Stepan Bandera, and that's why my nationality was be for this nationals really for Ukrainian. I'm for this blood for this, but my grandmom from Siberium Russian,
From
Ah,
Siberia.
and
Yes.
he love each others. And my Russian mama, grandmama, all life live in Lviv and talked Ukrainian perfectly. Never, nobody with me speak Russian.
what
But
about
I come
Polish?
to
Did they
study
speak
in
Polish
Kharkov.
too? Oh,
What
Yeah, I
about
study in
Polish?
Kharkov and study Russian, law school, work, and Moscow. And when people listen my Russian, he never talk. I am from really, really Ukrainian heart.
They
For
can
that,
tell.
that's
They
yeah.
can
why.
tell. Yeah.
That's why in Miami we have much more Moscow city, and I'm little Moscow girl. Yeah, but I was really a nationality. That's why I organized in Los Angeles pre-party Ukrainian Oscar, whereas the
Oh,
city Mariupol was being the best for documentary movie. Yes,
yes.
and I create a lot something for this because people don't like look Bucha or some this type of that. Miami people's much more. You know what is Miami people, but we built here little nationality Ukrainian, and every month I do something event for support, and this Stipurin and all it's us Ukrainian like intelligent groups, and this my film festival we have really friendship, and my mission now in Ukraine why I do film festival it's organize build Ukrainian name in the Hollywood, because all what do Hollywood it's all in the world, and we need specialized people
You know,
like
I
do lobby Ukrainian, because now in America Ukrainian okay cleaning people not intelligent, but we are
no,
really
I
intelligent.
know. Yes, and
It's
well, in fact, you need to know about the book that I've just spent the last day with the writer of this book about Ukrainians in Hollywood.
yeah,
So
yeah, I know this book.
you know
Friends
this
who do
book?
this book, it's my friends. I know this book.
So you know Stanislav? You know Stanislav? I just had lunch with him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
he wrote the book. Yes.
Yeah, he wrote the
yes.
book. Yeah. No, and oh,
We
wow.
have
Yeah.
so much,
Well,
yes, we have so much small time, but I want a lot much more talking with you. My husband have much more time. I have in 11 different meetings. Sorry about all this, but I really appreciate
Uh,
meeting with you, and I want invite you for be judge in my film festival, or not
jury.
judge. Maybe we
Jury.
bring some movie in my film festival for you be like member
yes, yes.
for film festival.
No,
It's
you,
be
you already asked me this, I think, and I said yes, I'd be happy to.
And
yes.
Yes.
we
In
really
Miami, right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I need thinking because I do in Miami, Chicago. In Chicago better because in Chicago have a lot Ukrainians, and I
Yes.
have my auditoria. He have in the TV, no, not TV. He doesn't have Ukrainian TV in America, but he have in the radio station and that, and a lot Ukrainian. In Miami, it was be like build something in Moscow. It was so much hard because I have in the Bandera family. That's why I do this for creation. And the same I want we have NGO organization, international scientifics for intellectual leadership, and I want you be as like Володь, как это? Почетный член. Sorry for my English.
Honorary member.
Yeah, we won't invite you like honorary member, like we with
Well,
that,
thank you.
because we are so
Yeah,
much like Matthew
I'd
talking
be
with
honored.
you.
I'd be honored. Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you very what's to say
Strange.
close person to our hearts is yeah, your view of spirituality
Yeah, we are the
in
same Buddhist with family. We built it's a
yeah,
Buddhism
the Buddhist
built us
worldview
family with blood. It's us
on
magic
Buddhist
together.
principles. Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
well, it's fundamental to my life. I always say that, there's sort of two pillars that hold up my life. One is men's work and mature masculinity and all of these principles, and the other is Buddhism. And without both of these, uh, to be quite shockingly frank, I might be dead now because I might have committed suicide
Wow.
uh, because I've struggled just like veterans often do with suicidal ideation. And I've struggled with this for much of my life.
Wow.
And so that's partly why I was drawn to working with veterans, because as I think you must know, 20 to 22 veterans kill themselves every day. United
Wow.
States veterans commit
Wow.
suicide. And it's just unforgivable. And so I wanted to do what I could to make it stop. And so that was part of the impetus for the series. But but that is a deep sort of emotional psychic connection I feel with veterans. But back to your point about spirituality and Buddhism, yes. So it's fundamental to my life.
I
And I was ordained as a Rinzai Zen priest in January of 2017. Uh, and I'm not crazy about the word priest because we don't really have
Right.
the right word in English. So we borrow the words from the Christian tradition.
Right.
But the Japanese word is Osho. Um, and I
Hmm.
just tell people, call me Zen dude. That's fine.
Zen dude.
Zen dude. So, so I'm a Zen dude. Um, and uh, I, well, in my last two books, really have, for the first time, explored some of the lessons, the profound lessons that I've learned from Buddhism and how I've applied them to my life. Uh, it's I'm taking us off topic now, but
Good. It's all good. It's all good. Please.
the books are designed to be funny though, because especially in this day and age, laughter I think is really important. As long as it's not, stupid laughter. Uh, and so what I like to offer my audience, my readers of these last two books, and actually my third one, which will be out in a few months, um, are sort of appreciations of the absurdities of modern life that
Mhm.
don't need to lead us to despair, but in fact can make us smile and laugh and also bond us together more as human beings because we all face these common challenges. So, yeah, well, I'll pause there.
Yes. So is that what gives you hope today? This idea of being able to get to human hearts so they change their minds and bind together as one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I recently took to becoming a Dharma teacher. So now, after studying Buddhism for 38 years and practicing it for 38 years, I'm now for the first time teaching. So I started a little sangha in Auburn, California, where I live. It's a small town of like 13, 14,000. It's called The Heart of Zen. And that to me is fundamental. Zen, the way, and I've been practicing it now for over 25 years, can be a little bit aesthetically cool and kind of austere, even cold sometimes, seemingly. And that's not me. I am a very emotional guy. I wear my feelings on my sleeves, so to speak. And I am very well trained because of my men's work in EQ, in emotional intelligence. And so I relish all of the beauty and the power of human emotion.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I like to harness all of that energy that we feel, even when we feel the bad emotions, of anger or fear or shame or even sadness, that
Yes.
we can actually harness these emotions once we understand them and once we
Yes.
do what we need to do to release them in safe ways so that they are of no harm to anyone around us, we can actually understand them as volcanoes of energy that we
Yes.
can ride and utilize in doing our work as of mission in this lifetime. And that's very important to me. And so I weave stuff like that into my Dharma lessons I teach every week
It's
on Monday
beautiful.
night.
That's beautiful. I remember Jiddu Krishnamurti said that just the process of complete attention on what you're thinking and experiencing emotionally is itself an action of releasing the conflict or avoiding the conflict that arises from our everyday life.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, it can help dissolve it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and that's what Zen is very good at teaching, right? Attention, concentration, mindfulness. These are really, really important. Uh, Without them, we're lost and we can become slaves to our own minds that can take us in all kinds of dangerous directions, like I
Yes.
was just speaking about 5 minutes ago, like
Yes.
suicidal ideation. So
Yes.
now, when thoughts arise that are not wholesome, not helpful, not productive, I go, okay, where do I want to put my attention? Do I want to put it in here and spin around like the hamster in the wheel some more on this
Yes.
negative train of thought? No, I want to
Yes.
put it on, yes, positive things, but at the very least, put it on what's happening right now, what's real in this moment, you
Yes.
know? And so what's real in this moment is I'm having a delightful conversation with two fascinating people.
That's exactly true. Another book and author that we really adore and are fascinated with is Diamond Cutter by Geshe Michael Roach. You probably heard
Actually, I
the
don't
Amer
think I know this.
Oh, it's good book.
Geshe Michael Roach is actually an American
Oh,
who was accepted to be a Buddhist monk and served 25 years as a Buddhist monk and became a geshe, which takes 25 years to do.
yes.
And then he was sent on a mission to New York to become a diamond cutter.
Oh, wow.
It's
Oh,
it's
interesting.
absolutely fascinating story, and he did become a diamond cutter, built a company that he sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. And to this day, he's serving, his mission is to help the Buddhist, you can say ideology, the Buddhist mind, uh, to ex- uh,
The
to be
business.
known to people through the translation of manuscripts, like the ancient manuscripts that were stored in Buddhist monasteries for centuries, right? So he took on a mission once he was free to do this economically. He had means to do it. He was translating thousands of those manuscripts. This is
One,
amazing.
Wow.
one second,
So
because
he's fluent in speaking and reading Tibetan.
Yes, 25 years living there, he is. Yes.
in Sedona he have huge teacher center for that
Teaching
in
center in
America.
Sedona,
Yeah,
Arizona. Yeah.
Okay.
and the same in the Ukraine. I have really a lot friends who teacher, spiritual teacher, and when I study much more like 20 years Buddhism, yoga, and all, I have my mission help for spiritual teacher for law. And I all the time be careful about teacher for copyright, for trademark, be careful about law. And a lot of my client, a lot more, it's a lot of my friends who in Ukrainian, this spiritual teacher
Uh,
for
uh,
that. We have like
uh,
big, huge group here for this, because I
uh,
think it's really important.
Alona registers copyrights and trademarks
Yeah, all in the
for
world. And
spiritual teachers in Ukraine.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
and
Interesting.
yeah, it's like my missions, and the same I like producer, try to production producer people, because sometimes the monarch or not have this understanding marketing
Monks, monks.
all
Yeah.
about this, and I try to do for YouTube channel, for Facebook, for Instagram, and I have really interesting experience about all this. I think Zoom it's a possible closed. I think Zoom only 1 hour. No, if it's
No, no,
closed.
no, no, no.
No, no.
Frederick started it. He has the full subscription. Yeah, it's more than an hour.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
I think we have unlimited time. Yeah. So don't worry. Interestingly enough, at
No, no, we
lunchtime,
have time with you. We have time. We have.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, I gave Ivan Shtapurin all four of my books that I've published to date. But I told him, and he was in fact most interested in this one that you can see over my shoulder here, Rights to a Good Life,
Oh,
um,
beautiful.
to possibly uh, translate into Ukrainian and publish, because we were talking at lunch about uh, suspended adolescence for young Ukrainian boys and men, that they're not transitioning in a healthy way out of adolescence, into mature masculinity. So that's part of what that book is all about. And so anyway, yeah, he might be interested in publishing it. We'll see.
Oh, another author, Jack Cornfield, as well. I really like his works, his books.
Yes. Well, are you saying that because he wrote the preface to that book of mine?
I didn't know that, but
Yeah,
it was it was just on time, I guess.
yeah, yeah. He wrote the preface. He's one of my favorite teachers. I've known him for about 30 years, and I recently actually sent him uh, my third book, or was it my fourth? I think it was my fourth. Anyway, because he's not of good health. And so I just wanted to officially thank him for a lifetime of beautiful teaching, both as a Buddhist teacher for me at Spirit Rock Sangha, in Marin County, California, where I've sat many, many days in silent retreat, but also as a kind of friend. He's
Wow,
really been a
that's
treasure to
beautiful.
my heart. So
That's
yeah.
beautiful. Um, in 2019, I had a fascinating and very involving and at the same time um, uninvolving experience called Vipassana meditation retreat. And it was a 7-day retreat in Idaho, and And I'll tell you that that spinning wheel in the mind the first couple days was unbearable. Even though I already did meditation before, different types of meditations, but this particular kind, the Vipassana meditation, kind of takes you back to the zero status, where
Yeah.
there's nothing there but your attention to the basic things. Um, and I didn't know how it would work, and somehow it did.
Who were the teachers of that retreat?
Um, I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Okay.
I don't remember
Well,
the names.
okay. I switched from my first Buddhist practice, which was came out of Japan called Nichiren Shoshu, a chanting form of practice. We would chant the Buddha's Heart Sutra, but it was transliterated from Chinese into Japanese. So I didn't understand hardly a word of it until I actually sat down and studied it. Uh, but anyway, so I did that for about 7, 8 years. I started in 1988 in New York City. I was introduced to this form of Buddhist practice. And then around 1995, I was introduced to Vipassana. And when my brother suggested joining him for a 4 day Vipassana retreat in our old hometown of Champaign-Urbana, I said yes immediately, but I was terrified. I was terrified. I thought, are you kidding? 4 days sitting alone with my own mind? No, thank you. That was the last thing I wanted, you know? And yet I found tremendous relief because I was carrying so much anger at that time. And I was really going around and around the hamster wheel. It's actually why I ended up abandoning my original chanting practice and taking up Vipassana, which I did then for 5 years. So I did a 3 week retreat at Spirit Rock in February of 1999. Jack was one of the teachers, and that's where, oh, actually, no, I had met him earlier. I did a men's Vipassana retreat with him in the spring of 98
Uh-huh.
in Marin County, and it was all men. And so it was a beautiful mix of Buddhism and men's issues. And
Wow.
Jack used to lead these retreats for a number of years with Wes Nisker, with some of his other colleagues and friends, Eugene Cash and others. And anyway, so I did that retreat, and then I signed up and I did many day longs and others, but then the 3 week retreat was the longest I'd ever done and have ever done to this date. Um, and I hope still in my lifetime to do a 3 month retreat. Uh, my Zen teacher told me that it's probably good for me to do at least a 7 day retreat once a year, because if I don't, my neuroses have a tendency to kind of creep up on me and then take hold of my mind again. And so it's good for me to just sit down, shut up, and get back to what's really real. And that's the truth of Dharma.
Wow. What's fascinating that the main idea behind Vipassana is to remove distractions, everyday distractions, and just kind of force yourself into being absolutely relaxed. Can you say that? Force yourself to be
Yeah.
absolutely
I'm not
relaxed.
sure I would describe it that way, but that's okay. If that
Uh,
definition works for you, that's great.
um, just the idea of everyday distractions, removing them is a big part of the
Yes,
successful course.
but that's true of any branch of Buddhism, really. I mean, that's why you go to the monastery, right? Is to take away all of the distractions of modern life so that you can really focus on what's actually real, you know? and to make sure that you are the master of your own mind, and that your mind is not making you a slave.
Exactly. And just the fact that people are constantly trying to run away from from who they are, from that state of zero, that where their entire power is. Because
Yes.
at that state, nothing can touch you.
Well, yeah, in a sense, yes. I mean, if you're talking about the non-dual, then
Yes.
that's absolutely true. Then everything is perfect, Even samsara is nirvana, right? Yeah, yeah. So,
Well, because yes.
I tell my students, at the heart of Zen in my, little sangha, that we're all works in progress. We're all works in progress. And please don't assume that, because I'm sitting up here and I'm giving Dharma talks and I'm leading meditation, that I'm not struggling with the same things you are, and in fact, that's part of why I started the Sangha. It was because I wanted people to practice with in Auburn. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to mention that.
Very interesting. Well, we're all God in action. Let's just put it this way.
Yes,
God in
yes,
action.
yes.
Um, I'm really fascinated by the idea. What is your personal understanding of determinism in spirituality? Uh,
Determinism?
yes.
Can you say more about that? What do you mean by that?
Um, that the book of life has been written a long time ago, and our characters are just playing out the parts that already been written out.
And is your idea close to the idea of karma? Is this your way of
Is it
expressing karma or
is it
something different?
more about God's plan?
Mm.
Uh, that the book of life is already written, and every step that we make has already been decided on long time ago. But we believe we do make decisions on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, I'll just say that, um, well, yeah, when it comes to a parallel issue of reincarnation, for example, the Tibetans are fundamental. This is a fundamental part of their culture, right? And it's beautiful, really, to see how closely and dearly they hold this idea of reincarnation.
Yes.
And obviously, there's countless examples that they can point to of, yes, in my former life, I was this, and now I'm this. And but I'm agnostic about this because uh, for me, one of the most fundamental teachings of Buddhism is that there should be nothing about belief in it.
Correct.
So that no ideas, no concepts, no notions, no ideologies should get in the way of our direct experience of life in all of its complexity and all of its mystery, you know? So that is something that I uh, have both experienced, but also emphasize in my teachings. As soon as somebody states a concept, like determinism, for example, I'm like, well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Yes.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
So, because the Buddha was very adamant about this, really, that he was, in a sense, a kind of a prototype scientist. He always said, don't take it from me. Just sit down, shut up, and meditate for a while, and
Yes.
you'll see the
Yes.
truth of life. It will appear before you.
Yes.
Impermanence, anatta, no self. There is no permanent self. There's no ego identity that lasts, right? And uh, anicca, and dukkha, suffering. Yes, there is suffering, So
Well,
uh,
they say there is suffering, but there is no one who suffers.
yes, and we have to have skillful means, right? So skillful means for me means if I have some student who comes to my sangha and is in a lot of emotional pain because her dog just died, I'm not going to say something like, well, your pain is an illusion. You know, that's not the heart of Zen for me. The heart of Zen to me is respond appropriately in the circumstance and give her a hug. And I understand your pain, and encourage her to keep meditating, to keep diving deeper and deeper, so that eventually, yes, maybe she'll awaken and understand that her pain is really about attachment. It's just
Attachment.
about attachment and
Attachment.
her unwillingness to let go. And it's not understanding anicca, which is impermanence. Everything dies, everything goes away. We have to understand this and accept it. And if we can become liberated.
Yes. When you mentioned belief, whether or not to believe, I remember the quote by Carl Jung, who was asked whether or not he believes in God, and he said, "I used to, now I know."
I like that. That's a good answer. Yeah. Yeah. Well, are there other things that I can
Uh,
spout off about?
this this was great. This was great. I really enjoyed conversation with you. I hope we can do it on some other occasion, not just an interview, just communication.
Well, hopefully I'll be in Miami, within a year, and
Yes,
we'll
yes,
sit and have a tea together, and we can talk some more for sure.
absolutely. And
Well,
looking
and with
forward to more to that of communication with you for sure.
thank you. No, likewise, and
We'd be
Alina,
so much
especially
happy.
with you,
Yeah,
I was
we'd
just
be
going to
so much.
say, you
Oh,
have your
sorry.
finger in so many pies. It's hard for me to imagine that, I won't sit down and be offered a slice of one of those pies at some other occasion. So,
Yeah, we
Well,
so much be happy if you come and live is us flat. We have huge flat and we have room for you, and it's better than only tea. That's why if
yeah,
you travel, like spend with us time, 5-10 minutes, it's be grouper. And the same, a lot director for festival live with us. It was be like little interesting time together in film festival, because I when I do film festival, a lot interesting people come, and it's like a small boutique festival. It's not so much huge, it's little difficult for immigrants organize, but it was really interesting people together, and we be so much happier if you met, and we have friends with that. I want a lot talking and a lot questions. Sorry about of me, but I think it's be interesting for this. I doesn't know read. You doesn't have private Facebook, or you have private Facebook, because we are only look
no,
Facebook.
I do. I have a presence on Facebook. I used
okay.
to have 6 different sub accounts on Facebook: Warrior Films, Veterans Journey Home, Boys to
Yeah,
Men. But
it's be
I lost control of these because of hackers.
Yeah, I know, I know. For us, interesting your private what you read, because I'm really active in Facebook, and the same really that,
And
and the
Instagram.
Vlad was really the same, really read a lot. And my dream, of course, do movie here.
A
in
documentary?
America, be producer. Yeah, it's my dream. Now it's law school because law school give me money. Money give me freedom for do art, and I the same read. I write two book, one book for poetry and one book for my shock with Western eye. When I come to America as a party girl from Kiev, come to
Oh,
real,
well, yes.
real West, and what is B is for shock,
Yeah,
for
Wild
that,
West.
and
Yeah.
it's the same different mentality for this. Yeah, Wild West and I and me and but I think, oh, my book doesn't have conflict. I need much more conflict, and the war
Mm.
star,
The war
and it was be
started in
really huge
Ukraine.
conflict,
Yes.
and
Ah, be
was
careful what
was
you
was
wish
for
for.
that.
Yes.
It's really, it's because for my art for conflict. No, no,
That's
no, I
right.
doesn't want.
It's your
But
fault. Now I know who to blame it on, finally.
yes, yes, yes.
No, all of what you say sounds fine. I mean, I like small boutique festivals, and it's great. It gives a chance for people to become more intimate and have
Yes.
real connection.
Yes. And what speaks to me is not just your filmmaking experience, but your spiritual experience. Very, very important for me, myself personally.
Well, yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, it's like I say, I mean, it's self-preservation, you know. So at some level, absolutely.
Beautiful.
And, it's a topic that I mentioned in my book that'll be out in a couple weeks. You know, enlightenment is becoming self-defense these days, because
Self-defense.
as the world
Wow.
collapses, right?
Yes.
We have all the more urgent for us to become enlightened, so that we
Yes.
recognize, well, collapse is okay, whatever, it's what it
Yes.
is, it's just what's here now, and not to be too upset about it.
Yes.
Well, are we
Well,
signing off, or
thank you.
do you need something more from me?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. It was a real pleasure. We hope to speak to you again and see you again. We'll be in communication with you. Enjoy your time in Ukraine, in these difficult times for Ukraine, but there's still so many good things to see that you'll definitely enjoy.
Oh my, I'm having so much fun, believe me. I'm
Yeah.
having a tremendous amount of fun. So it's really a great, great pleasure for me.
Yeah, thank you so much about of your time. I was so much happy met real spiritual teacher, and for me it's a big pleasure if I have possible listen. If you have in your class online, I think with Vlad we be so much happy come in that and support spiritual teacher. And we really want you come to Miami or Chicago where you want and come to us house, and we was be really happy met and spend time together with you. And
Thank
I
you. Thank
organize in Miami a lot people who won't listen you because I'm good organizer for that. That's why I think it's be maybe something in future interesting for the same, and speak real spirituality knowledge for people who won't listen that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, but believe me, I wasn't kidding before when I said at some point I'm sure I'm going to use your organizational skills. I'm sure they're going to be very helpful for me. But eventually we will
Thank
have
you.
my Dharma talks online. But until then, they're really in my books. I mean, my last
Yes.
two books and now my third book is really, you could think of each chapter as kind of a separate Dharma talk, really.
Yes.
So anyway, I'll let you go. Thank you very much. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed the
Frederick. Thank you,
conversation
thank you,
and
thank you.
look forward to more.
Thank you.
Bye now.